Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get really, really transparent. And it's Sunday morning, Easter Sunday, April 18th. And I just had an astute realization. I think my heart has been really hardened these past weeks with the business. And something I've been coming more to knowledge of, and I've been praying over. Even last night, like I had a conversation with Elijah, and I'm like, "Hey, we didn't get enough done today. It was Saturday, and you know, I felt compelled to work today, but today is Easter Sunday." And Elijah was like, "Hey, I don't really feel compelled to work today. It's Easter Sunday. I want to be with the Lord." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." But even just that desire, it's like, where are my priorities? I feel like I just want to act with so much speed and iterate so much, like, as a growth minded individual does. But as a believer, it's also like, if you let that overtake you, it's really easy to. I guess that's why Jesus says it's very hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven in Matthew. Another thing in Matthew, it's where I think it's Matthew 16, so I don't know. He says, not everyone who will say my name, Lord, Lord, will get into heaven. He'll turn people away at the gates and be like, "I never knew you." And I truly do believe in Jesus. I truly do follow him. But I feel like sometimes I feel like my heart is super hard because of my desire to grow this business. And I'm being really transparent because maybe other believers, maybe other people have struggled with this as well. Ambitious people who are also followers of Christ. And dude, today's Easter Sunday. I'm gonna be like really honest with you. Today's Easter Sunday. I woke up and I heard like a large like boom sound. And a wave of just fear struck with me because I was still in my bed. I don't usually use my phone in bed. I usually sleep in a little bit on Sundays until like 8, 9, catch up on sleep. But a wave of fear struck me. I was like, was that the resurrection? Was that the second coming of Christ? And I'm still here. So I like look outside and like I get really scared. I literally get my phone and I download Twitter because that's the only news source that would be able to provide me news that fast of something happening like that, where like, if people are missing and stuff. But it doesn't seem like that happened. But in that moment, in all honesty, I was so scared. I was like, did I choose this world over God? And I've been asking God to help me soften my heart. And I literally prayed that after my conversation with Elijah yesterday. And it's not easy, but I think I'm on my way towards, that was a really big wake up call. No pun intended. It's realigning my desires, realigning like my priorities. Because priorities, at the end of the day, it's not about what you value, it's about how much you value things relative to other things. Because there's a lot of things I value. I think I talked about at the beginning of the week, my core values last Sunday. Which of those do I value most? Is valuing one over the other, is that hardening my heart away from Christ? Yeah, anyways, Easter Sunday. I'm super excited. I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna celebrate worship, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna work today. I might, but I do want to spend some time with the Lord. It's not just like a Sunday thing. It's like an everyday thing. You know, I spend time in prayer. I spend time in His Word, but I don't really spend time throughout the day thinking of Him. In all honesty, like when I'm in sales calls, when I'm writing SOPs, when I'm training Alex, it's usually just like in the morning and at night. So maybe knowing Him is just integrating Him into everything that I do, and that's that's a journey in itself. That's not easy to say, or that's easy to say. It's not easy to do, but I think that's on the journey that I'm doing. So just documenting every single experience, every single thought here as I continue to grow. I'm freaking 21 years old, still figuring things out. So yeah, anyways, peace. That's my Easter Sunday. This might conclude the video, actually. I might record another clip. If you see me in another clip, I'll see you there. If not, thank you guys for watching my first ever video. This is a very weird, intimate place to end the video. But anyways, peace. I'm on my way to church. I just thought of this killer quote that applies to what I was just talking about. I was letting the mission be my God instead of letting God guide my mission. Ooh, that was bars. Okay, bye. Tuesday, April 22nd. A couple days after. Yesterday was a pretty solid day. I can show you my calendar here. So on Sunday we planned the Japan trip, but then I had a couple of good sales calls. Leon didn't close, but I was able to sign on. Ryan, that was a call that I think I talked about last week, where essentially like he was like not interested whatsoever, but then I was able to leverage that into a sales call. I don't think I brought him up. Yeah, he was like telling Alex like, hey, I am not going through with you guys. I want to cancel the call. But then I was able to call him, rebook him in, reset expectations. And then we signed him on yesterday, Easter Monday. And then today signed on another partner, Jeffrey. Pretty solid call. I'm allocating, but yeah. So I'm actually gonna head to campus, just take a nice little break. Sunday, Easter was really nice. A lot of reflections as you saw in the last clip. But yesterday was pretty good as well. We actually did an ice bucket challenge. I'll send that clip as well. Cut to that clip right now, actually. Okay, and Elijah. Okay, you probably cut back. So it's pretty cool. Elijah challenged me to do it, and I challenged Ari and Steven and Austin to do it. So I think they're doing it today. So yeah, pretty solid day. I've kind of noticed in the last video that I let my sales like kind of affect my mood. Like I was super energetic when I close the deal and when I'm feeling really good, and then when I don't close the deal or I don't have anything, I feel really down. So I can't let my sales actually affect my mood. Just gotta stay consistent. I think it's because at the beginning of the week I set like a KPI, like, hey, we're gonna hit three deals, and Clive gets a bonus, but then maybe it's not incentivizing the best deals or whatever the case may be. So maybe that's a flaw. I don't know. I'll see you most likely at McCombs or wherever I end up going. I'm probably gonna go work out. I'm shifting my workout schedule actually from morning to afternoon just to fit the schedule so I can have more meetings in the morning. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna get a pump. Absolutely crushing, man. Yes, sir. It is Friday, April 25th, 2025. 25, 425, 25, 25. No, that's not how it works. Super excited. Just signed on 2 deals today. And one of those deals, I don't think I would have pushed through if I didn't remind myself of this core truth, which is why I'm recording this video. I'm shirtless. It doesn't really matter. I'm hot. I'm down here in Texas. I literally, before my sales call, I was kind of in a slump because I closed the deal early in the morning, but then I got a couple of no-shows and I was like,
just kind of lazily walking around. Like I just didn't feel motivated. And Friday evening calls are like always tough because it's like those are the ones where you really just gotta force yourself to push through. And I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I want to show up to this call. But I literally forced myself to just pull out this notebook from Growth Day, which I wrote down a lot of takeaways from. And the number one note on this page right here, rule number one, job number one, not rule number one, job number one, activate the best of who I am. Greatness and energy and motivation doesn't come to you. You activate it, you generate it within you. And I literally just told myself like 3 minutes before the call, I was dead tired. I'm like, dude, no. I choose my emotional state. I activate who I am. I generate my own energy. I activated, and within that time frame, in that 3 minute time frame, I remember 2:57 Central Daylight Time on a Friday evening, April 25th, 2025. I activated the best of who I am, and I literally made a conscious choice to just regenerate energy so I could show up as my best self on the call, stay in the pocket, objection handle, all this stuff. I didn't even have the objection handle because I was just so energetic and I was so bought in with my conviction. I don't think I would have had that much conviction and energy if I didn't consciously choose to activate. So that's a big win that I just wanted to share on this Friday evening. 2 deals, literally within, oh my goodness. This is the biggest period of the business. So super, super excited, man. Let's go.
Yo, it is April 26th, the day after the last clip, and I was just reading through James chapters 1 through 3, and it's made me kind of consider a few things in regards to how I'm conducting myself this week, how I've conducted myself for a long time. And whether I have like wisdom. I saw like a video from a mentor of mine. We actually flew out to his house last year, Matt Shields. And he is just like giving up so much. He was talking about how his net worth has gone down and he's shut off all his income streams, and he had like a 300 to 400K a month business. He made like 600,000 from Serve Others, which was the coaching program that I initially met him in. And he said he's never been happier at this point, even though all these income streams have stopped. And he's building up a new business called Iron, which I'm super excited for him. But he's so like grounded in peace and acceptance, and just like, bro, I literally, when I talked to him last October, I believe, when I was in North Carolina, I could just see like this next level of wisdom that I honestly have not seen in any other person, not even other followers of Christ, where he just was not at all consumed by money or any earthly desires. And he really didn't care how other people thought of him. And I think that's one thing that I've kind of struggled with, is just like, it's not even that I want a lot of the things that I have, or the money that I'm making at this point. We had a great week, like I just shared yesterday, and a great month overall. But it's like, I feel like I'd be approved just because I want these things. Like, the reason why I want these things is because I feel like it's normal to want these things. And people won't judge me if I want these things. Like, people have judged Matt Shields. When he posted that video, a lot of people were hating on him, being like, dude, this guy's gone off the deep end. Like, he doesn't care about life anymore. And I'm like, it's kind of backwards. Like, he's never cared about life more. And he's never felt as blessed. He literally said in the video that he's never been more happy. And I'm like, is that the new level of wisdom that
I'm nowhere close to yet. I could pray for it, but just like removing all fleshly desires for money, status. And I need to accept the fact that people are gonna think I'm weird. They won't accept me. They won't accept that. They'll think it's cope. They'll think it's like, oh, this guy gave up. He couldn't handle the pressure or whatever. And it's like, no, I know I can. But is the person that I'm becoming who I want to become and who God wants me to become? Like, I can actually feel like an ego building up inside of me. I look at like how much money we've made in the past. It's not even like we're like crazy, like, you know, but after looking at that, I took a screenshot of my Stripe and I was like, I don't know. I felt like me building an ego. And I pondered this last night, and as I was reading James, I'm like, dude, this is exactly what the devil wants, bro. To give all the credit to me, for me to think I'm the best and think I'm better than others because of how much money I'm making, for me to think I'm better because I have specific knowledge and that I've done certain things that other people aren't willing to do. You know, dropping out of college, taking that risk and building my business, and it's starting to pay off. Like, that's what the devil wants, bro. He wants me to build an ego so I can just desire more of these fleshly things. And it started with really what everyone wants. Everyone always says they want like the nice cars, the big house, a happy family life, things like that. I'm like, is the reason why I want that because other people want it and like I can have it? I have the ability. God's blessing with ability is that in situations that put me where I am today, and then I'm attributing that to myself, you know? That's a very dangerous game. And it's not to say that I haven't worked hard. But I feel like I'm just growing away like more from him as I continue to grow the business, and I don't really like it. So there's two things. There's two trains of thoughts. It's like either A, I completely give up on this business and I just become a full monk, or B, I continue to grow this business and I do it in a way that truly serves God and that's truly in alignment with how He does, how He wants me to grow it. Meaning I don't use it as a vehicle to boost my ego. I don't use it as a way to just build up wealth and not give back. Like, what's the point of storing up all this wealth? It literally says in James, like, the riches will perish. I'm gonna die and like literally everything that I've stored up here will be gone forever. I will never be able to relive any of the experiences or anything like that. And all I'll have in heaven or wherever is me, my soul, and what I've done for eternity. Oh. It's cool, yeah, to get the 100K a month Stripe screenshot or whatever. But I think what takes even more courage and more strength is to give that up. Because you know it's not in alignment with God's will. For you to just completely just optimize for making as much money as possible and not giving back and boosting your ego and things like that. And some people, they have the ability to make that kind of money and not build an ego, but I feel like I'm at the point where maybe I just haven't built up as emotional maturity, where like I just look and I'm like, dude, I don't like where this is heading. And it's a good thing that I've caught this now. That's why you read the Bible. It's kind of like talking to God and him being like, hey, Matthew, what are you doing, man? I still want to grow this business, but if it comes at the sacrifice of my soul, I don't even know if it's that crazy. Maybe God is just like, hey, this is a wake-up call. Like, hey, you're starting to make money, real money now. And it's like, don't let this overtake you. Don't let this distract you from me. And it's so hard because in order to grow a business to the heights that, our goals are, it's like you kind of need to put a lot of effort into it. You kind of need to work hard to grow the business. Who would have thought? But it's like, you need to work hard, but not let it overtake you and overtake your soul, and like let it attach to your identity, which is a huge, huge theme. Even last week is not attaching the business to my identity and my self-validation. Like when the business is doing great, not letting that boost my ego, and then when the business is doing bad, not letting it just like completely tank my self-worth. And just recognize that, because I think there's like a notion that the business is just an extension of who you are, but I think that mindset can get really, really dangerous when you attach your entire identity into how the business is doing, how much revenue you're bringing in, things like that. So maybe a better phrase would be, a business is a representation of how much you're optimizing for the business. And you can grow in so many other ways. Like me and Elijah were about to take a trip to Japan in a couple weeks, and that might tank the business, but it's something that we want to do because my dad has been wanting to go to Japan with us for a long time. And that's something where like it's probably not optimal for the business. It'll probably cost us money, but it's something that truly will connect us with our dad and will give us alignment that I think we need in this time, in this crucial time on earth that we have here, the minimal time that we have here on earth. We might as well spend it with the people we love, right? And not just grind in our freaking apartment all day, 24/7, 365. So even feeling like less like worry or shame about taking that vacation, like that's been a huge thing on my mind as well. Like, oh man, I feel bad for Alex, my team member, our team members. The business might take a hit. One, it really won't take that big of a hit, and two, it was also just like an ego thing. Like the revenue might decrease because we're not, we're still active players in our business. But accepting that that's not a representation of who you are as a person. The business being a reflection of your personal growth, like I think that's part of it, but I think, like I said earlier, that was kind of a fire quote. The business isn't a representation of who you are. The business is a representation of how much you optimize for the business. Because naturally, like the self-improvement stuff will just lead to a better business, but the business doesn't grow because you self-improve. It's correlated, it's not causation. And if you kind of deviate between those two identities of yourself and the business, and recognize that, yes, the business is correlated to how much you improve yourself, but it's not like you're not improving if the business isn't growing. Recognizing that is super huge. And that's a huge takeaway. That's actually fire. I like that. Definitely keep that in the video. The business is not a reflection of who you are, how much you improved. Or what's the comment saying? It's like the business is a reflection of its founder and how much they improve or whatever. But like, I don't think it's about self-improvement. It's correlated, but it's not directly causation. Oh man, whatever I said earlier, it hits. But yeah, that's just kind of my takeaways this morning. And if I don't see you, I'm gonna end the video. If not, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. But I mean, it's a good month for sure. But all right, let's tell them. Today is April 26th, 2025. We just came off a coaching call with Eli, and we had a lot of insights that we're gonna just contemplate on this walk, talk about, get clear on. This month, as of today, from April 1st, how much are we at, Matt? Revenue?
We're like 48K, 49K.
48K. A year ago today, we had the goal of 50, and we're gonna break that this month because we have an appointment week. That's at least gonna be 4.5K. So we're breaking our goal, which is like, for me, it was the first time I actually saw the number in Stripe. I literally just came to realization. I was like, bro, we made $50,000 in a month.
In the past 4 weeks, we've made around $60,000, like $57,000 in the past 4 weeks.
And so I think a lot of this,
Which is like around 40 something thousand in take.
I think the main things, I think like two main things. It's like we grew a lot in character over the last few months. Let's go. And also we just got out of winter, which, is slow season for roofing. Now we're heading peak season, and Matt is crushing the sales. Like, how many deals did you sign this week?
Signed 5 deals.
5 in a week. That's a record. And I have 4 onboarding calls next week, literally, on one day. So things are just scaling. We're hiring new ISA team member. We're ramping it up because we have a lot more lead flow. We have almost 37 active clients or something like this.
We have 12 that we need to onboard.
I have like 12 that I literally need to launch.
Bro, that's like another probably like what?
For May, if all of them are in KPI, it's gonna at least be
20
another
or 30K in
10K at least. It is gonna be their first month, but
yeah, that's true.
but
it's also May.
yeah. So like this year, we're gonna be very profitable. If we just keep our expenses low, like we could very much hit our income goals. So let's talk about the Eli call. What do you feel like is the main takeaways you want to touch on first?
Does any of this even matter? The amount of money that we're making, like, all right.
What do you mean by that question?
Like, yes, we're on cloud 9 right now because this is our best month, but like, I don't think that it's a good like kind of thing to associate your self-worth with, like how much money you're making and how much money you're taking home, things like that. It's often a reflection of your self-improvement, but this is a takeaway I had earlier this morning, and Eli really resonated with it, and it's kind of alignment where it's like, you're still the same person at 100K a month. You're still the same person if we actually hit our revenue goals or if we don't. But the business just so happens to be correlated to how much you develop yourself. But that doesn't necessarily mean when your business takes a decline, you've taken a decline. It's just correlation, not causation. So what that means is you shouldn't attach your self-worth to the business and how much you're making, because that's a losing game. That's a losing game.
You're placing your
10 times
identity
out of 10.
in external outcomes and circumstances. You're placing your sense of self-worth and validation on things outside of you.
And then another takeaway I had was DCA, decisive, committed action. Like Eli, we had a coaching call with him that was blocked for 1 hour, but it ended up going into 2 hours. And he had to summon the energy to be able to do that. He just told us transparently. It's not like he was like, this is a chore. This is like a conscious effort. It was a decisive, committed action to actually show up in that way, because it's not easy to give high level leadership advice for that long, for that extended period
On a
of
Saturday.
time. On a Saturday, when he has a bunch of stuff, like he has a bunch of stuff planned. We have a bunch of stuff planned as well, but like it's a decisive, committed action. I saw that come into fruition yesterday, where my first call I closed, and then I had 2 no-shows. One of them I was supposed to sign on, and then they gave me an objection right at the last minute before the call, and I was like, oh. And I had one more call at 3 p.m. and I really didn't want to hop into the call. I was about to just like not be fully present on the call. I was about to like, okay, here goes another call, because with this prospect, he wasn't as knowledgeable about marketing, so I would have to do a lot of information. It would take a lot of energy to explain things to him. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But at 2:57 p.m., when my call was at 3, I just saw my orange book from Growth Day, and I looked in it, and the job number 1, the number 1 note in there was to activate the best of who I am. So in that moment, I decided at 2:57 on April 25th, 2025, Central Time, I just decided to change my emotional state and actually activate the energy and really show up on that call. And I don't think I would have signed him on if I did that, right? But then, you know, we're able to sign him on. He's gonna be an amazing client, bro. Like, new market, they just got hit with the storm. He literally was like, how soon can we get launched? Like, that's why we booked the onboarding call for Monday. He has great expectations. He's not as marketing savvy, but like, dude, he's gonna be an amazing client. And I don't think I would have signed him on if I didn't actually make that conscious effort to summon that part of me and just be like, okay, summon the patience, summon the energy,
the emotionally aware,
activate,
as well. Like, the emotional awareness is so key in that, because Matthew realized, you know, he was just drained, and like, but actually being aware of that in the first place, and then the next step is consciously choosing to change your emotional state. I mean, how
it was a decisive, committed action. Like,
how do you feel like you did it? Like, how did you do it? Was it just like one moment? Was it a thought? Like,
it was a thought, and I just thought back to Growth Day when he was like, activate. I literally did Qigong, and I was like, bro, just activate, like, step into the new version. Like, it was crazy, but I just showed
didn't
up.
You like
on a
yell
level.
at yourself? You're like, you literally,
I literally
yelled.
screamed like, activate, come on. And I did like Qigong, I was tapping myself. I was like, come on. And then I literally just like stepped into this new version where like, I was attentive to what he was saying. I was asking the right questions. I don't think by any means I would have been as attentive on that call and really probed on his problems if I didn't do that. And we were able to sign him on the first call that I had with them. And that was just like a formative moment for me, legit. Like, I'll always remember 2:57 p.m. Central Time, April 25th, 2025. That's the moment I realized that DCA, which is what Eli was teaching us, decisive, committed action, the power that it actually has.
The question also, the follow-up on that is, what is the next action step I need to take out of place of courage and integrity in this season of my life right now? Like, what is the actual, even if it's painful, even if it's uncomfortable, what is that next step that I need to take, that I know I need to take? That question I've been wrestling with, because I'll share kind of my experience for the week. There are clients, I wouldn't say they're on fire, but it's just like, I have to realign their expectations to, like, for example, we had a client who's like, hey, it's been slow, but the ad account their card wasn't actually spending. And she wasn't aware of this. And so she's like saying, hey, it's been horrible, like no leads, you know, but she didn't have that expectation. And I can't come from a place of assuming she knows how everything goes. That's not like, that's me making assumptions. It's not coming from a place of service, of love, like of empathy. So part of this kind of it gave me a sense of fear, of rejection, of like, if I show up to this call, you know, she's like really angry, and I always play these scenarios in my head, like a client may churn, they might refund, chargeback, like they say bad stuff about us, which never once has happened to me with actual clients. So it's just funny how the brain just like sometimes does that. They play scenarios. But now I was like, what do I know? What would the best version, high performance version of Elijah do? He would show up to that call, do some Qigong, activate, and just show up for Laura. Win, lose, or draw. Win, lose, or draw. they love you.
Yeah. And bro, it's like what's common knowledge to you is not common knowledge to maybe other people like our clients. Like that the main problem is that yes, she hasn't been bringing in leads, but it's also because she hasn't been spending money. And if you come from a place of grace and understanding, like, hey, I completely appreciate where you're coming from on this as well. I know how frustrating it could be when you don't see the leads coming in, and just thoroughly explaining the process of how the card just wasn't being charged, and it was no one's fault. It was just like the card just wasn't being charged, but it was a lapse of maybe communication on your end, letting you know. So, and you can even like frame it in a good way, like, hey, the good news is we actually haven't been spending money on this card, so or maybe that's not good news, but like the good news is that we can take change right now and fix this, whereby now we'll start being charged again for the card, so we can start getting the ads up and running, and just having the patience, like, bro, summoning the patience, because again, this is like maybe a little bit more clear to you because you actually run Facebook, guys. You actually know all this stuff. Like, you had to spend money to get impressions, but what's common knowledge to you isn't common knowledge to everyone. And just summoning the patience, bro. Whenever you're in that conversation, summon the patience and understand that, like, bro, you can serve someone.
Not everyone's on. They just may not have the understanding. So, what else do you think we what was another takeaway? Oh yeah, you wanted to tell like the crazy kind of connecting the dots of just Eli's story and literally how it like directly affected, or not directly, but
you want to go different? Like,
you want to go on longer? I mean, we can go around the neighborhood. There's another walk.
Sure.
Tell him how like Eli got started in this space.
There was another Korean dude named Caleb Shea, and they were friends, I think, and they were in, I think, Eli or Caleb's basement when Eli was 18 years old. He was 1.8, I don't even know if
Low grades.
Yeah, low grades in college.
Community college. And he was thinking about working at Whole Foods. Like, literally, like, it was in his consideration. Like, that was the path he was going to go on to. And then Caleb just hit him up. He was kind of in the online entrepreneur space. He's like, hey, you've heard of agencies? Do you want to start an agency? And that's...
He knew he was in car... He knew he was in...
He was a car sales. Yeah, he was car sales.
And he had that belief. Like Eli said, like, if Caleb didn't believe in him in that period, and Caleb literally said to him, like, hey, just give me 6 months. Give it 6 months. This will change your life. If Caleb didn't step in to that place for Eli and, like, really believe in Eli with true conviction that he could, succeed in online entrepreneurship and growing himself and all this stuff, he wouldn't have joined Agency Lab, which is the program, Joel Kaplan's program, where he sold Tony Lee. He was actually like in 2021 or whatever when Tony, he wasn't even a name in the space, and like I don't think he even knew English or something. He was still in Vietnam. Bro.
And
he had to sell his last cryptocurrency.
Yeah, he had to like sell his crypto to get money in his bank account, and Eli got him to Agency Lab. And that's when Tony started the story. And then when you think about it, 2 years later, or 3 years later, 2024 rolls around, Tony Lee hops on a call with me to sell me. And that call shouldn't have closed anyways. Like, literally, I can already see it. This is literally divine intervention. I didn't come into that call like wanting to buy. I didn't think I needed help. Somehow Tony, like, miraculously, literally, got me into the program, Serve Others. If we didn't join Serve Others, we wouldn't have met Matt. We wouldn't have met
Tony,
Eli.
Josh,
we wouldn't have Dana Systems. We hit 30K, like literally tripled our business once we joined Serve Others.
For all our friends, Danielle, Colton, we wouldn't have known Jabez, bro.
Jabez,
Asa, Enoch. We probably wouldn't like have gone to the point where we were comfortable going to events in person, because Colton was the one who invited us to to the sales event. We wouldn't have known Colton if it weren't for Serve Others. And then we might not have had our roommates for next year, bro.
Or growth. We definitely would not have gone to Growth Day because Eli connected us to Anas, who knew Brendan, and we wouldn't even be under, like, literally on that call with Eli because we wouldn't have known him. Us talking about having that conversation, when we thought that, like, connecting the dots all started when Caleb talked to Eli. It's like, literally, how could this be a coincidence?
Yeah, and it's so easy to connect the dots going backwards and look at this stuff now. But what's harder and what really takes things to the next level is when you can start connecting the dots. And like, if the dots connected in the past, why won't they connect in the future?
Yeah.
And it just gives you so much conviction in everything that you're doing, that everything will work out. Everything has a reason. God has a reason for everything.
Tell them about the verse, James.
Oh yeah.
How that applied today.
And it was interesting because I was reading, I'm reading through the New Testament, and today was James chapters 1 through 3, and it's the whole like famous verse, like, you know, faith without works is dead and things like that. But it also had a verse that talked about how the riches of this world fade away, and you know, in heaven, obviously it's flipped around where the poor are great and the rich are not great. And it really flipped that paradigm where it's like, if we just optimize our life just for worldly riches and worldly desires, that's not from God, you know. And it made me realize, like, am I just optimizing my life for a number on a screen, on a the stripe screenshot? It's not that that's bad, but it's like, if we attach our identity and our self-worth into that, other than the fulfillment that we know that God created us in his image, that's where it kind of becomes a dangerous game, where like your entire self-worth is validated on a freaking purple striped dashboard where you can get banned any second. And it's like, we got to be so thankful. Like, you know, we have access to an apartment, we have access to healthy food, we have a team that's bought in.
Not take it for granted.
And, you know, whether the business goes up or it goes down, like, not attaching our self-worth to it. And that's kind of ties back to the point I was making earlier about how not attaching your identity. Yes, self-improvement, everything is correlated with the business, but that does not mean that
doesn't
the business
define you.
defines who you are and your self-worth. And okay, then what actually defines your worth? And that's, okay, that's the person who created you, who created us.
God. And also how I think your character, how you live out your character.
Yeah.
You know, what defines you is not the 100K a month, but the person who's capable of achieving
The
100K a month.
character.
That's who you are. You're that person.
Bro, like, the past few months, we've just been in the trenches, like, you know, you've been on check-in calls, I've been in sales calls, we've said no to a lot of opportunities, not going out late, not doing the normal stuff that kids our age do, and it's been tough. It's not easy doing what we do. Not to raise like our ego or anything, but I'd say we have put in like a lot of inputs that would lead to our desired output, and I think that's what's helped us get to this point. And I think the character that we've built by doing all those inputs, saying no to a lot of stuff, going to sleep early, working out in the morning, showing up for our team, investing into our coaching with Eli, doing all these inputs have directly led to, you know, some of the outputs that we're seeing. And it's the character that defines us. And then as a result, that's what gets the 100K a month businesses, things like that. Because there's been a lot of people who've hit 100K a month, they don't feel anything. They don't feel like they've grown in character. They feel like they've just sacrificed all aspects of their health, their relationships, everything like that. And yes, it's cool. You got a Stripe screenshot, but that only lives for like a second on the internet, man.
What does a man gain, or what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul?
So this kind of been a wake-up call where it's like, okay, we're starting to make real money here. We can't lose our soul in the process.
And tell them about what we got planned in 2 weeks from
And
now.
part of that, you know, is optimizing for not just our relationships, or not just the business, but also our relationships with our family. So I'm super excited. It's so funny. In the peak of our business, when everyone would double down, we're actually taking a trip to Japan for 2 weeks with our dad.
Oh yeah.
Not as like a, oh yeah, we made it celebration sort of thing, but
We actually pre-planned it.
this is something that we've been planning for
December. Like
Since
it was
December,
literally his
yeah.
Christmas present, and we're prepaying the tickets and everything.
And it's
for
like
a
something
dad.
where it's like, it means so much because I feel like part of what the sacrifices that we had to make initially building this business is, you know, Elijah kind of cut off the last second half of his high school career, which meant less time with dad. He was more invested into the business, and it's going to mean so much for us to be able to spend that time in a place that dad has indicated multiple times over the years that he's always wanted to go to with us, and eat all these cool foods and all this different stuff and just experience it. So this isn't like a we made it kind of trip. We had planned it before, but it's kind of coming into fruition now.
I think
like, it's like a choice. Like it's a conscious choice. Like we could have,
it's just like what we prioritize and what we actually value.
because we can very well hit
We-
100K next month. It's very real. Like
If we double down,
exactly. But the thing is like the fact that we're willing to sacrifice that number and that to prioritize what really matters to us, which is our dad. Like we very well could still hit it, but you know, the sacrifices that we're willing to make,
it just shows what we value.
yeah, it shows what we value.
That's what.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
That's what value, or no, that's what love is. Love is sacrificing for something greater.
Part of the reason why we wanted to grow this business in the first place was so that we can help support our mom and dad. And I know when you first started, it's probably, are you gonna post this to YouTube?
Yeah.
You'll probably look at one of the first videos. You're so convicted in building the business to 10K a month so you can retire mom.
And it's ironic though, because I still remember it was about a year ago. A year ago in February 2024, when I made the decision to go like all in. I had to have that really hard conversation. I had to make an internal decision to separate and, like Matthew said, distance myself from just my old life, like living in my old city, living with like mom, distancing myself just to work on the business. And it took a lot of like commitment. And I think this first trip with dad is the first fruit that, you know, I'm able to bear now to kind of rekindle that and reconnect and, you know, not build my life in a way where I have to sacrifice what I value, but just build my lifestyle and my life around a balanced, healthy life, you know?
Yeah.
But I still want to say that, like, I still think I'm in a growth season, a planting season. Like,
yeah. I
don't plan on like backing down after, you know, Japan. Like, oh, now we can chill. We still have so much work to do.
Yeah.
And
With this
you know,
business,
and wealth
with-
to build
yeah.
this year, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I view this as like something that we had pre-planned before, but it's kind of coming into fruition where it's like we're kind of reminding ourselves in this growth season that yes, we are growing financially, yes, we are growing in our skills, but that doesn't mean we're any better, and it shouldn't validate us. Because let's say we take a dip in May because of this, which very well could happen, right? Like, I'm willing to take that because I know that my self-worth has actually grown even more because of that sacrifice and because we weren't just optimizing for that. And then in future months, if we grow back up, like, it'll feel so much more satisfying knowing that
We could tell this story to like people in our future, you know, like this exact moment you're saying, like your future subscribers. Like, imagine being the person you are now, or after a result of doing this with dad. Like, you're able to tell people, don't sacrifice family over profits. Like, and you can actually look them in the eyes and look at the camera as they're speaking in the video, like, I know this to be true, instead of I wish I could have said this.
yeah.
It's like who you're doing this for. Another like prompt Eli helped me come to is like, who do I need to be a light for, even if they don't exist right now, like in our lives. And like an example he gave for me is like the fear of rejection. I have with some clients, he kind of gave me this example. Like, imagine, he's like, Elijah, do you want to have kids? And I was like, yeah. Like, girl, boy. And I was like, oh, I don't care. I can get what I take. He's like, okay, just imagine you had a son. You had a little guy running around, 4, 5, 10 years old. And he comes up to you. He's like, Dad. He's crying. He's like upset. He's like, I got bullied today because people rejected me. They called me ugly, and I'm just so scared, Dad, to go to school tomorrow. And then Eli was like, Elijah, do you want to be the father who has to look at his son in the eyes in that moment and say, son, I wish I could help you right now?
Oh, wow.
Or do you want to be the dad who can look his son in the eyes and tell him, I know exactly where you've been, and you actually can help him and give him a solution by leading by example, that you lived it out before. When I future paced that scenario in my head, we're doing this not just for ourselves, but literally for the important people in our future. The lives will impact, through our brands and our future businesses, our future families, future friends. That was a really big takeaway this week.
That's big, bro.
Man, this week, April 21st to April 26th was such an incredible growth week, I feel like, for me.
It's amazing, bro. I'm glad to hear it.
Wait, let's see that. Wait, hold on. We gotta get this on camera. Welcome to the Kim Bros handshake. Hold on. Can this actually stand?
I don't know if it can. Wait, let's put it on maybe the pole over there.
Propped it under something. People will know this to be the Kim Bro signature. There might be a tree in the way. You ready?
That's it. We've also said that's it. I think Dad was the one who taught us that, right?
It's from, what was it, Community, I think.
Oh.
Troy and Abed in the morning.
I remember watching that with Dad.
Hey. Yeah.
Everything comes full circle. All the dots connect. It's just you don't see it until after. So if you can build a superpower of just connecting the dots.
And building the faith that what you're experiencing right now is supposed to happen, that you're exactly where you need to be.
James 1 talks about this as well. I think it's also in James 2, about building, or maybe not, but James 1 talks about how troubles, and that builds faith. So that builds your faith stronger. If you go through seasons of worry and you maintain faith, that actually strengthens it. So I don't know, I don't anticipate that every single day will just be on cloud 9, that it'll be easy, but in this current moment we're starting to see some of the dots connect, and be really grateful for it, man.
Yeah, we can ride the momentum for the next
couple weeks.
Heck, we could take it into Japan, bring the best version of ourselves there.
We could just do another 50K.
Bro, next time we'll be doing a recording like this, we're gonna have I'm gonna use my iPhone 16 back camera. We're gonna do some nice color, we're just gonna edit some nice content for the brands, for the YouTube. So we'll probably be doing some vlogs like this in Japan. I'm excited.
Let's go.
Next week we gotta crush. We gotta finish, the week strong. Set ourselves up for success next week so we can, give ourselves a lift off for Japan. Yeah. Want anything else to add before we end, Matt?
God loves you.
Jesus loves you.
Jesus loves you.
Jesus loves you.
Oh, do you have a key? Oh, I have a key.
Yeah. Okay. Peace, everyone. Kim Bros, April 26, 2025. Peace.